Play would be fun. So some people enjoy work and some people don't. Nobody wants to talk about insurance, and it is a known issue in our industry. And oh, I do insurance, it's boring. Their eyes glaze over. So as a people pleaser, it really made me feel uncomfortable. And so how I have created in a boring industry play into my work. They kind of scratch their head and they go, how are you in insurance? How do you stand it? Everybody hates it. That there's more to insurance than just lines and numbers on a spreadsheet. Trying to understand what is work and what is play. It's like I'm my own little slave. I'm forcing myself to do it. And I felt out of control of my body and just things weren't working. So my rule was that I could not judge whether or not I liked an activity or a class until I took a class 10 times. So as you may be starting out a new career or trying to learn a new skill, you're gonna probably hate it at first. Just like be bad at it the first couple of times. So maybe list the top 10 and say, these are the 3 that I enjoy the most. How can I build in play into these activities that are driving my results? Am I actually taking the time to play? Am I actually taking the time to find those projects that I consider to be creative? Work versus play. Work versus play. So I've had this one on my list for a while, and it is rather elusive in my opinion, because it is a social construct in some ways. Things that are considered work, maybe taking out the trash, pulling weeds, vacuuming, cleaning the house, sitting at a desk and toiling away. These are all things that I think of when I think of work, and our associations with the word work. And play would be, I would think of a kid sitting in a sandbox, playing with toys, a playground, something that is fun, right? Play would be fun. So I'm laying the groundwork here. You're like, okay, you're stating the obvious, but it's to slow our thinking down and help us define what exactly we are talking about. And so we have to define the terms, and I need to frame it so you understand where my brain is coming from here when I think about these things. So some people enjoy work and some people don't. So in my mind, how do I trick myself into enjoying work, enjoying what I do? So I do insurance for a living, and I've had many instances where I get people's feedback and their feedback of their negative connotations on what I do. And so I think I've thought about this maybe more than most, because I do not have a cool industry. So my husband has a cool industry. He's in off-roading and he does cool things, and his work looks cool from the outside looking in. One of my best friends worked in the golf industry, and I would often take her with me to networking events. So I learned early on that nobody wants to talk about insurance, and networking events get very awkward and very difficult as soon as you use the word insurance. And that is why a lot of people in my industry just refer to employee benefits or advisor, call themselves advisors instead of insurance agents, where in fact we are just insurance agents. And so it is a known issue in our industry, and it is a topic that comes up in marketing and sales meetings that I've been in over the years as a problem. And one thing that I have done, and I did it unintentionally at first, and then I realized that it was a great hack. So I would bring one of my best friends to networking meetings whenever I could. My husband will not go to networking meetings at all, so I wasn't able to convince him to go with me. But two of my best friends, one has worked in the golf industry for a long time, and everybody wanted to talk to her because they want to talk about golf, or they want to talk about getting a free foursome for one of the courses that she knows or is associated with. And then my other friend is a professional boxer. And so that's just an exciting and interesting field for a lot of people. And they want to know more, and they want to know what it's like being a professional athlete. And there's so many questions that come up when you're talking to a professional athlete, let alone a professional female boxer. So I noticed that when I brought one of these women with me, that those people I would quickly get over. They would, I'd ask them, the person that I'm meeting, what they do, and really try to dig in there. Then they would ultimately ask me what I do, and I'd say, oh, I do insurance, it's boring, but she's awesome, and kind of gloss over what I did to continue the engagement, because the alternative was, oh, I do employee benefits, and this is why we're so, as soon as you say insurance, or as soon as they realize you're in insurance and they think you're trying to sell them something, their eyes glaze over. So it's almost not even worth talking because they're not receiving you or any of your information, which was a challenge for me because I generally am good at getting people engaged in a conversation, reading their body language to find what is important to them or interests them, find that spark, find that verbiage, that language that gets people engaged and gets people talking to me. So when I came up against this as a people pleaser, it really made me feel uncomfortable. And so I would try to come up with other things to talk about. Often people divert to my arms and my fitness now. I haven't always been in shape, but about the last 15 years, I have been in some shape. In the last 10 years, probably 14, 12, somewhere in there years, my arms have been notable, at least to the general public, and that usually sparks up a conversation. So that's a way for me to diverge into that other topic. So back to work versus play. So this idea of all of the social connotations we have with insurance makes me wonder about the connotations about work versus play, and how I have created, in a boring industry, play into my work and created some very positive associations with what I do. So people ask me, I'm not the kind of person that they envision in insurance. I like to paint. I consider myself to be fairly creative and fairly artistic, or at least attempt to be artistic and attempt to be creative as often as I can. I enjoy those attempts. And so when people see that side of me, they kind of scratch their head and they go, how are you in insurance? How do you stand it? Everybody hates it. And I have done some reframing in my brain to allow myself to enjoy my work. And it really boils down to the beginning of my career was very exciting for me and my personality because it was extremely entrepreneurial. It was a growth company. It has a startup company feel. I was allowed to do creative projects. The entrepreneur that started that business and the operations woman that helped him start that business gave me a lot of free rein, and I'm very grateful for that. I would ask if I could do X or Y and Z project. They always kept me busy. They always gave me research projects, things to keep my mind busy and keep me learning. So in that environment, I was able to see that there's more to insurance than just lines and numbers on a spreadsheet. However, over the years, I have trained myself on how to enjoy some of that more analytical side. And because I learned how to do it, and I learned from good people, and I learned how to be creative within analyzing information. So not that being creative, that I am manipulating the information, it's that in my analysis and in my understanding and trying to be objective in looking at the information, my presentation to the client and my ability to simplify the information to the client and make that visually easy to digest along with my language is a creative process and is exciting and is fun for me. So again, not to, again, probably people's eyes are glazing over just because I said the word analytics and spreadsheets. But my point is trying to understand what is work and what is play, and look into your own mind to see what you are associating with energy draining activities. So generally, I know for myself, when I have to do something like take out the trash, that can be energy draining. It's like I'm my own little slave. I'm very authoritarian with myself in those situations. I'm forcing myself to do it in this discipline sort of way. And I have always had a negative connotation with discipline that has started to turn around for me. And I find that discipline is very useful in this first part of transforming work into play. Now, one lesson that I draw from often is when I started to work out. So I realized I was gaining weight. I felt out of control of my body in my early 20s when I quit smoking. I have told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Just very briefly, I decided that one of the ways that I could lose weight was to go to the gym, and I had tried several other methods like dieting and running on my own. And I decided to take every single class that was offered within that gym at least 10 times. And I reserved my judgment as much as I could until I had taken each class 10 times. So my rule was that I could not judge whether or not I liked an activity or a class until I took a class 10 times in that genre of class. So that's what I did, and by the end of it I ended up enjoying all of the classes. I did cycle, I did step classes, I did Zumba, all sorts of different aerobics classes, the kickboxing classes. I ended up liking them all. Of course, I distilled it to, okay, what are your top three? What are the top three things you like most? And you can do this with work as well. So as you maybe starting out a new career or trying to learn a new skill, you're going to probably hate it at first. Just like if I let myself judge the class the first time I took it, I would say, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this. I can't follow the steps. I feel like an idiot, and just never come again. I see that happen to so many people at the gym and taking classes. And you're going to feel the same way when you try a new entry-level position, or you're starting a new career, or you're trying a new skill. You're going to be bad at it the first couple of times. So give yourself an adequate amount of time before you make a judgment on what you like about that activity and what you don't like about that activity. And as you go through and do all of these new activities, maybe list the top 10 and say, these are the 3 that I enjoy the most. Figure out how to do those more and dive in and get better at those 3, and try to delegate the other 7 as much as you can. So this is something that I go through on a regular basis as I'm learning a new skill, and hopefully I can give you some tactical ways to look at work versus play. So as you perhaps look over yesterday or the last week or the last month, write down the 10 places, the 10 activities that you are doing that you consider work, that you have to do, that you have to get done. And then on the other side of the page, write down 10 activities that you see as play or fun. And that can be a range. So, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, fun might be a 1, but it's not a 0. And it goes all the way to 10, which is the most fun. And this is interesting. This is an interesting activity because ask yourself, am I actually taking the time to play? Am I actually taking the time to find those projects that I consider to be creative? And blend those as much as you can. So on a scale of 1 to 10 for fun, you've got 1 being kind of fun, 10 being maximal fun, and 0 being neutral. And on the other side of it, you have work. So what is light work is probably a 1, and a 10 is really, really hard work, something that you associate with very, very hard work. So what we want to try to do is find activities that may be a 10 at hard work or getting a result. If you find activities in the work area where you're driving the results that you are looking for, you need to do more of those. So your question to yourself will be, how can I build in play into these activities that are driving my results, and what ones can I delegate to others if that's something that's taking up a lot of your time? So, for example, one area that I need to do more of in work is writing, recording videos for clients, and for creating content. And I don't always enjoy doing it. I usually enjoy it once I get into the activity, but it's the starting of the activity that has been difficult for me. So what I have done is built in as much creative. I enjoy the creative side. I enjoy just talking to the camera one-on-one. And then I also enjoy talking to my friends on a regular basis. So what I'm going to be doing is starting a video series of me and one of my best friends, and we're going to go through and have a couple of topics to talk about and do a recording together to help me create some more content in a more enjoyable way. I do obviously have videos on the nuts and bolts of what I do and what I have to get out to my clients, such as I did a video on HSA contributions and what are the changes, and some IRS changes, things that most people don't really care about. So those are really targeting HR professionals and what they find interesting and what they need, the information they need to do their job. And the more enjoyable side of content is going to be the more personal side, the side where I'm sharing what I've learned and hopefully helping others that are younger than me or dealing with similar issues as I am right now. So I took something that my brain started associating as work, these content videos, and I worked in some ways to make it more fun for myself. So I said, okay, what do I enjoy doing? What is something that I can get some content out there and make sure that there's not as much friction. So I set up my office to where I can basically record from any angle. So I can do it from my desk, which I do from a regular basis. The audio isn't as good over there, but I can upgrade that over time. I painted my desk. I rearranged my room. I created a decent background here. And did that. My husband helped me. I did that over, a day or two to make it so that it was easier for me just to hit play, because one of the things that I hated about setting up was setting up the camera. So taking away friction, figuring out ways to work in things that I do like doing into a work task makes it more enjoyable, and then also just getting better at it. So getting on camera more, building in the practice of practicing. And that is something that I learned actually from fitness. So as I did weightlifting, I really wanted to learn how to squat and deadlift properly. I saw the value in it. I saw that it would help me be stronger. It helped me be more athletic and more nimble, help with aging, help my hips stay strong as I get older, and all my bones and tendons and ligaments, and also help keep me from not being fat. So, and one thing, one funny anecdote here is that I have noticed my body type. I'm a little bit more muscular probably than, if I were to go to a magazine and pick out like the perfect body and what I would exactly want to look like, it would not be as muscular probably as I am. But over the years, my body type wants to be fat or gain fat or gain muscle. So I've erred on the side of, okay, that's my body type. I'm built more for lifting, and so I have bigger joints than some women. I'm just built a certain way, and my metabolism is a certain way. Whether you want to go into the different endomorphic and all that, different body types, That's fine. There's not a whole lot of science behind that, but meso, endo, and there's one that starts with an I. Anyway, I'll put it somewhere in here in editing. But my point is that as I worked out, I started wanting to get more specialized in my skills. Just like in business, we may want to get more specialized in our skills. And I had decided that I really wanted to learn more about the squat and the deadlift. And as I did that, I realized I had to practice. So it's not, if you're squatting or deadlifting, a lot of people think we're just going in there and trying to hit a max all the time. No, there are set practices. You're practicing over and over and over again. A lot of times you're practicing either with no weight or just the bar, just getting reps in, training that neuromuscular pathway, making some of these movements, making your setup, making your stance, your body mechanics. I'm trying to think of words that are not so nerdy for the general population. The way that your body moves through space, automatic. You want to make that automatic. That you want to make good form in the gym as automatic as possible to avoid injury. And then also you can take that neural. So the more you think about something, the more neurons you're using to just think about it. Like, okay, butt back down, like just to this level. And when you are doing that, when you're distracted by instructing your mind and like micromanaging yourself in the gym, the slower you're going to be and you're going to lose some strength. If you make it automatic, you're able to use all of your neurons and all of your brain power on just being strong and just working on that lift. So same with work. So if we want to get good at something at work, whether it's physical or mental or creative, we have to sit down, do the work, do the practice. And I would often tell myself when I'm heading to the gym, even if I'm tired, I would say, I'm just going into practice today. For me, it relieves this pressure of being perfect. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to get in the reps. If I get in the rep, I will get better over time. That way I will be able to do it when I'm tired. I'll be able to do it when I don't feel like it. It becomes more of a habit. And then when I don't go, I feel like something's wrong. So I have to talk to myself when I'm sick. I have to talk myself out of anxiety when I'm not going to the gym. If I take it out of my routine, at least for a couple of days, my brain starts telling me there's something wrong and there's something missing. Well, because there is. I haven't done this thing that I've trained my nervous system to do and my brain to do every single day. So same goes for when we're learning a skill. So when I'm learning a new skill, just like me talking to you right now on camera, again, it just takes practice. It takes reps. It takes sitting down when you don't want to and building up that momentum and eventually turning the practice into something that you enjoy and building things into your day that you do enjoy or into that skill that you do enjoy. And as you get better at that skill, you'll be able to find things within that skill that you enjoy more than others. And you can either delegate those or just continue to go down the path of honing in on the areas of it that you do enjoy and getting the ball rolling in that way. So hopefully that's a little bit more concrete. Hopefully I've given you some insights, some tactics, some things to think about when getting yourself into enjoying what you do. And because to me, it is a bit elusive. It is a difficult thing to articulate, and it's something that I've thought about a lot. So hopefully all of my thoughts help you progress in some way. And thank you for hanging out until the end, and we'll see you next time.